Hi everybody and welcome to Indigo Sky Holistic. I'm Davina Ketson, an energy healer, intuitive, holistic therapist, and I'm just gonna have a little riff today and see what comes out, because there's been a lot going on for me, energetically, for lots of other people, and I'm just gonna see what comes out. So there's been this is my brand new YouTube channel. If you want to watch like some of my reasons for creating this, when I've had a YouTube for quite a long time, then you can find that here. But I'm starting to create some content here to talk about life, to talk about some of the things that I've got going on, and how the things that I've learned that I use in my holistic therapy support, in my mentoring, in my services, how some of those things are what I use to stay sane in a crazy world. And there's been I'm just going to share a little bit of my story for the last 6 months, I think, because it's been quite intense. There's some videos on my other YouTube channel, which are going to stay there because there's no point in moving everything to this channel. But it's been quite a crazy 6 months. So back in September, literally, so this is the spring equinox, and literally I'm recording this on the spring equinox, but it's going to be on my YouTube in a few days. Literally the day before the autumn equinox, crazy times, our landlady at our house where we lived served us with an eviction notice. So here in the UK, you have to give tenants 2 months notice if you want your house back, that you'd like them to leave, and if they don't, then you can go to court and basically say, my tenants aren't leaving, kick them out. She did this in September, without warning, like no prior warning, no notice, no like, oh, I think I might need to move into my house, There was lots of things in the letter to pull on the heartstrings, to like feel sad and compassionate for my landlady, which, you know, I'm like absolutely 100% on board with anyone who's got trying life circumstances, needing to follow the things that are required by the state, the government legislations and whatever, to get into where they need to be or what they need. That's fine. A little bit of warning, because it clearly was not a spur of the moment decision, but a little bit of warning would have helped my nervous system, and I could have prepared my daughters, particularly my youngest daughter, who'd only ever lived in that house, for what was to come. But we didn't get any warning, and on the like 20th of September or whatever it was, 2024, we received this letter. My husband and I actually looked at each other and laughed, because it felt like, yeah, this is the time to move on. It's time to go. I've done a lot energetically for the last 5 or 6 years, but I've done a lot energetically in the 18 months preceding that to support my energy to grow and expand. And it felt like, and still feels like, my energy, our energy, as my energy and as the family's energy, we all grow and expand together, was too much for that house that we were in. Basically, our energy was too big for the house. It was a small house to start with, and it was time to move on. And it activated as well in myself some hopes and dreams for growth and expansion, for not just for myself and the family, but for Indigo Sky Holistic, for the service that I'm here to put into the world. Think ways to expand and grow in my consciousness, in my awareness, in my showing up in the world. Hopes and dreams to support people in families with self-directed learning environments, with home education, with holistic well-being, wellness, as in families. Like, for me, being a mum, being a conscious mum, as I've been an intuitive, conscious mum, which I've been all along, and my eldest's almost 16, supporting families through that in the world that we live in, the madness and the craziness of the world that we live in, it just feels like that's a really key thing that I'm here to do. I've always wanted to be a mum, literally for as long as I can remember conscious memories. I loved dolls, I loved playing house, I loved being a mum. That was number one thing I knew I wanted to do, was be a mum. And the number two thing that I've always wanted to do, or has always played a role in my play, my imagination, my activities, was health. I would play at midwifery services when I was little. Like, I would be a mum in hospital having a baby, and then I'd be the nurse looking after the mum in hospital having a baby. And then in games that I played in teenage years, both online, computer games, console games, role-playing games, all of it. I was always a healer. And then I ended up in healthcare in my 20s as a healthcare assistant in all realms of that. And to merge those two together now, it feels like, this is really what I'm here to do, to support mums, families, to consciously co-create their lives and to grow and expand as such, to be trusting of themselves as mums and dads, to trust yourself, to trust your intuition, to trust your giving to the world. And then on the other side of that, to trust our offspring, our children, our sons and daughters, to trust them, to know themselves, to listen to their inner guidance, and to listen to their interests, their highest excitement, and to allow them to follow their passions in life and their hopes and dreams, rather than inculcating into them some setup that you should only have a 9-to-5 job, or that you can only be this in life, or that this is the thing that's going to make you successful. Oh, that's just bullshit. And I wrote in a home education group this week about how allowing my children to follow their interests. It was in relation to taking GCSEs, I think, and it was like, for myself and my husband, neither of us is doing anything even related to what we chose in options in year 9. And we probably would have got to where we are quicker if we'd have not been forced into this category of year 9, what are you, 13, 14 years old, choose your options, pick your career path, go to know now what GCSEs you want to do, so you know what college you want to do, and then you'll know what you want to do when you go to university. Not that either me and my husband went to university, but that's a whole other story whole other story. It's for my other YouTube channel. And my husband and I would both have found our chosen career paths if we'd have been allowed to just continue following our interests without judgment from the grown-ups in our life. Because, like I said, I wanted to be a mum. I loved health and well-being. That always like trickled down into my life. Organic living trickled down into my life. And we probably would have got to where we are quicker if we'd have been trusted to follow our excitement. And that's my passion and purpose now, is to support and help people to learn that about themselves first, because we have to learn that about ourselves before we can pass that on to the next generation. We have to learn to trust our inner voices, our knowings, our guidance, and a lot of that I learned through human design, and then passing that on to our children is really beneficial. Understanding that in them, those things in them, is really, really useful. And that's awakening of that dream, actually, the house eviction, awaken that dream in myself so that I could be like, oh yeah, this I want to do more. I want to do more than this tiny little 2-bedroom house in a valley at the bottom of a valley is doing for me. Time to get out, time to get up, time to get out, time to grow. And that was the positive side of it. However, anyone who's moved house, doesn't matter what circumstances it is in, knows that it's like the 5th top reason for like cause of stress in people's lives. We just had a change in financial circumstances, which I was prepared for and was really happy with, and was happy to be pursuing with the rental price that we were paying in the house we were in. The eviction notice at the time, I don't know where you are in the world, but right now here in our place here in Yorkshire in the UK, there's a lot of people going through the same thing we've just been through. There's not very much cheap rental properties. There's not very many properties out there for people who are on lower incomes. And whilst I'm more than happy to expand my income, and I'm aiming for that and taking action towards that, I was just at this pivotal point where it was like, right, we can manage the way things are going and the way things are growing and expanding. We can manage in this place, in this situation. And then I started having to look at other rental prices, which were anything from between double to triple what we were paying. And I was thrown off balance. It was very apparent that as things were, that was not achievable in that moment in time. That would have required me to not just not just hold the income that I had started to achieve, not just hold that income consistently for a period of time and then maybe grow it, which is the aim, but would actually require me to very quickly triple my income from what it had been, just so that we could pay rent and pay all the other things that need to be done. Or take a step back to what we just released and freed ourselves from, which is government support. And I am not knocking government support for various reasons through a lot of my life. Family circumstances have meant that reaching out and using the government support systems has been necessary. And that's great and that's cool. However, having experienced what I've experienced for the last 12 months or so, I believe it holds a lot of people back. Because here in the UK anyway, within the government benefits system that's there for people who are like disabled, people who are like out of work, looking for work, people who've got incapacitated in some way, like mentally, or can't hold down full-time employment anyway. There's certain aspects that you have to, like, if you reach a certain level of income, then you lose those benefits, and that holds a lot of people back. I know from the conversations I've had with so many people over the years that over and over again is like, oh well, I couldn't do that because I'll lose my benefits, and or you know, we've got a promotion and therefore I've lost my benefits, or we've lost part of our benefits. And that, I feel like, from my experience, it's held me back. It's held me back from putting myself out there. And also, it's been a safety net. It's like, oh, well, yeah, but we get this each week, so I don't need to push myself beyond my comfort zone because, well, you know, I've got this, like, this amount of money coming in each week, or this amount of money coming in each month. I don't need to push myself out in my comfort zone to put myself out there, my services out there, my energy out there, because, well, I'm safe here in my little bubble where I get this XYZ amount of money each week. And that's not that I didn't, like, I've been self-employed for 12 years, but it also played then on the fear of how will we make ends meet if circumstances change. And the government benefit system here in the UK has been through a process of change now for many years. It feels like it's been trying to change for about 8 years, I think. And that change is, I think it's this year now that it's fully implemented, but for us it was last year. We were like, this is this big change going on. And I was like, you know what, we've managed, there's been times where we've managed on this really small amount of money. We can manage on my income being a little bit more than that. We'll manage. I know how to manage. I know how to live week to week. I know how to stock my cupboards. I know my rights. Like, I know how to stand up for myself. I know how to face, like, the fears of I can't pay XYZ. I know that nothing actually that terrible happens when you don't pay XYZ. If you talk to people, if you communicate, if you hold your energy and stay in your power. All of which I do with things like EFT, with subconscious programming, with journaling to support myself, like get stuff out that's maybe whizzing around in my head and things like that, and reaching out for support. The thing is that this whole, like, change, we'd, like, changed our financial circumstances in, I think, August was when all of this extra money was starting to stop. And then and then, like, within 5 weeks of that, we find out that we've got to leave. And the impact of that on my energy, despite all of what I can do to support my mental and emotional health, was scary. There's no two ways about it. I was actually scared of how we were going to manage, but I stepped up into my power and was like, I started to share with my husband how things had been previously, like a few years ago. I started to share with him how I'd held things together and I delegated a lot of that eventually after like 4 weeks or so of useless corporation bods, because everyone's there's so many people in similar circumstances. It's like, you phone the council and go, so yeah, we've been evicted, and like, yeah, right, join the queue. So have 100 other families. Right, okay. How many houses have you got? 2. Like 100 families are evicted from their properties, and they've got like 2 houses to put them in. Like, go find something private. You're looking at private rents, and you've been paying like £550, and private rents are anything between £1,100 and £1,600 for a house that will fit you in. If we started looking at smaller houses, we were still looking at £200 to £400 more than what we've been paying. And all of that brought up a lot of the stuff that I'd been releasing for 12 months around my self-worth and my worthiness, and the belief that good things can't happen to me because I don't deserve them, because my other channel, God doesn't like me, God doesn't love me, God isn't going to bless me because I am not a member of a particular religion. And all of that was brought up for me. And you've got to process it. Hey, I teach trust, I teach surrender. I have a whole 6-month process starting in like 4 weeks, 5 weeks, around learning to trust and surrender, and how to rest your nervous system and surrender to not having to control everything, and trust the process and spirit and intuition and yourself and everything to guide and lead you through. And this was my baptism of fire into it. This whole thing was like my baptism of fire into it, and I had to learn to go through that and process that. And I have. I came out the other side going, holy cow, yeah, everything worked out. The thing is that I didn't have a crystal ball. I wish I had. All I have is the intuition that I learned to trust through the process, that I can now look back on and go, yeah, my intuition was right. I wish I could have listened to it a little more at the time. And that's what I have to use now. Trust my intuition. Everything's going to be all right. Carry on doing what you're doing. Everything's going to be all right. Carry on doing what you're doing. Everything's going to be okay. Get the picture. Because if 6 months later, here we are, we have moved house, we're in a new house. It's a way better house, more or less. Needs decorating, but that's a whole other story. We've moved house. I live 5 minutes around the corner from here, where my therapy room is. My husband is like stepping up and finding people himself for his own service. He's a horticulturist. He has a degree in horticulture, and he's a graphic designer, and he's like bringing those things together to create locally and reach out and meet people. And he's like started going out and meeting people in ways that he'd not done for a long time. And he's getting ideas, and he's doing a lot more. And there's been so much change in that 6 months for us all. If somebody just sat me down on the 21st of September and go, Davina, in 6 months, by the equinox, by the spring equinox, you're going to be in a completely new house. You're going to be so close to your therapy room that you can take clients last minute and get there before they've even put the phone down or stop messaging you. You'll get there, you will be hanging out in the cafe there like every week, and people will be coming in and finding you and either reading your write-up on the website or in the therapist's book here, or they'll just be there and looking for a massage therapist or an energy healer, and you're there, and it's like, here's Davina, she does that, go and book with her. People will be doing that. If somebody would have sat me down on the 21st of September and told me that, I probably wouldn't have lost the income that I lost in October and November that I did. And as the income started to drop, and I become like really, really more scared, and there's like this end date looming of, this is when the lady might turn around and go to court, although she'd said that she'd like work with us and help like be open to, you know, not immediately in November going to court. And also that's taking a long time anyway here, because so many people are doing it. Even if she'd have gone to court, she'd have had to wait a number of months before that would have reached court. It was also Christmas, obviously, December. And I have 2 birthdays. 2 of my daughters have birthdays just after Christmas. And all of that was like, I can't do anything for Christmas for them. I can't get anything for Christmas for them. It's going to be a shit Christmas. It's going to be shit birthdays, and we're not going to be able to do anything. And we didn't. It was the smallest Christmas we've ever had. They didn't really get anything at all. Birthday wise, similarly, they just got like one small thing, and we had like a family meal. I don't even think my 14-year-old got a birthday cake, just because of how things worked out. Not because I couldn't get her or make her a birthday cake, just because of how things worked out, and because she hates being that centre of attention. It was all coming in and singing happy birthday to her anyway. And all of that went on. I think I know what happened with her birthday. 2 days before her birthday, we heard about the house. We got notice of the house. And I think on her birthday, I'd gone to look at the house outside and gone, oh my God, yeah, okay, we don't mind living here. And was waiting for callback from the the housing officer who messaged me. And I think I kind of was so distracted that I forgot to make the cake. And all of these situations, all of these things that came up, I navigated through using all the tools that I use to support people. They didn't make it perfect. It didn't put money in my bank at the time, aside from gifts, some small gifts from friends, like as I navigated all of that. The uncertainty meant that I was not here to have people booking in because I'm here. By here I mean in the wellness centre where my therapy room is, where I'm hanging out every day now. And it was very, very challenging and very trying, but it proved that the tools and the techniques that I use to support my nervous system, no matter what is going on externally, that they work. And that feels really important. It's really important for me to know that what I bring and use to support other people works. So knowing that I can calm my nervous system while there's no money coming in, while there's no money in the bank, where I'm not sure when I'm going to buy food again, how I'm going to buy food again, how I'm going to pay anything for anything, whilst constantly checking in like, but does this mean that I should go and apply for that government benefit? No. Oh, okay. And holding my own and learning, and now coming to the point where I'm like, actually, companies and corporations have nothing in place for people who are moving house, nothing at all to support people, other than, you can go and you can be labelled as needing mental health and being vulnerable because you've got mental health issues, but Somebody who's just moved house and had suffered from loss of income doesn't necessarily want to turn around and go, oh, yeah, I've got mental health problems. First of all, it feels unfair as someone who works with people with emotional and mental health issues, for me to turn around and go, oh yeah, I've got mental health issues, to someone on the phone going, feels a little unjust and unfair, because it's not truthful. But if that's the only thing that they can add as a label to help the system treat you better, like, why are we not treating everybody better? Why are we not treating everybody who's moved house with the same level of compassion, care and respect as we treat anyone who's got a mental health condition or is vulnerable in a vulnerable circumstance? And if there's somebody who's moving house in other vulnerable circumstances, domestic violence, for example, do they necessarily want to say, oh, yeah, I've got mental health problems? I mean, someone who's suffering domestic violence probably does have some mental health stuff going on, but maybe because of the domestic violence, they don't want to admit that they've got mental health stuff going on. Do they really want to disclose to the people on the other end of the phone, oh, well, actually, I've just left, this because of domestic violence? Do they want to be disclosing that? Should they have to? Why is there not something in place within companies when you are moving house that flags everybody up who's moving house, who's changing their address or something, somewhere, somehow, to go, oh, these people need some grace, couple of months, few months, because moving house, even if you are, comfortable, moving house it costs money. We did it very cheaply because we had friends helping, because we didn't have a lot to move. We threw away a lot. We left behind some things to collect later. We got lots of support and lots of help. And through all of that, it's still expensive. It still costs money to move house. And then to be like, oh yeah, well, you've got to pay this and you've got to pay that. You've got to sort out bills from the old place and sort out bills from the new place. And everyone wants paying up front for the new place, but you've got to finish sorting out stuff for the old place. It's like, this is why it's one of the most stressful life events. So much going on. Why is there not any sort of grace for people to go through that? And taking that to companies and corporations and going, if someone's moved house, that's a stressful life event, right? And if you've got to mark them as having vulnerable mental health, then do that. It's crazy. So, all in all, supporting your emotional health will get you through anything. Supporting your nervous system will get you through anything. Self-compassion, it goes a long way. Standing up for yourself goes a long way. And learning how to do that is a big part of what I've done and a big part of what I do. Supporting with the mental and emotional health aspects is absolutely why I'm here. And if I have to start going to corporations and telling them, big companies, and teaching them how to treat people who've just moved house, and then potentially have one of the other 4 things in the top 5 going on as well, because we had 2, loss of earnings, loss of income, and moving house. Lots of other people have other things that are going on when they move house as well. Very often you're not just moving house, you've got something else going on. All of that. Then that is what I'll do. I'll go to the companies and I'll teach them how to energetically care for their customers and their service users, because it's all about energy. And if I could just be left to energetically recalibrate myself, everybody will get everything that they're asking me for. Everything that they need, everything that I need to pay for would get paid if I didn't feel under the pressure that I have felt under to do it instantly. And yes, it's all very well and good. I can phone up and vote, but again, that's more stress, more anxiety. Many people are very anxious making phone calls. I am one of those people who has been very anxious making phone calls or something that has pretty much cleared up in the last 6 months. Like, there's just nothing in place to support people consciously through life-changing circumstances. And companies and corporations have nothing in place to care for their service users who are in stressful situations without mental health issues. There's nothing in place. It's time to change that. And it's time for more people in companies and corporations to begin to understand energy, frequency, vibration, how money works in that energy, vibration and frequency. Everyone would get paid so much better, so much more quickly if they understood the energy and frequency of money, and they understood the energy and frequency of wealth, and they acknowledge that for people and stop making people scared and start making people happy, because we actually produce more and receive more when we're happy and when we're actually loving and living our lives than when we're like, shit, I'm really scared that I'm going to lose everything. The more we feel like we're going to lose everything, the more we actually lose things. The more we feel like we've got everything to gain and everything to win and everything is like, everything is positively geared, as in creating happiness and joy and pleasure in life, the more we generate the things that are connected to that. And it's much easier to generate income and wealth and grow that, whether you're employed or self-employed, whether you need to depend on other people supporting you through government benefits or other support systems that are in place to support people, all of that. It's much easier to receive anything when you're being given the chance to enjoy your life and live your life with joy and fun and pleasure and playfulness. It just is. And everyone who wants a piece of me would have so much an easier time receiving that from me if I was given the opportunity to do what I love doing, which is energy healing, supporting people with their emotional health, and being with my family and talking to a camera, because I do quite like that too. Anyway, let me know your thoughts and feelings if you're watching this anytime, and I'll see what comes through another day. I'll see you soon. Bye.